Have you ever wondered how a quiet, ordinary person can become a hero? Well, today, we're diving into the story of Bilbo Baggins from The Hobbit. We're going to follow his journey from a comfort-loving hobbit to a truly brave adventurer. And along the way, we'll see some fantastic examples of past tenses and irregular verbs in action. So, here's our roadmap. We'll follow Bilbo's adventure through these 5 key stages. Each one is a huge step in his transformation. As we go from his comfy hobbit hole to his daring escape, pay attention to the verbs we use to talk about the events that really shaped him. This is where the story and the language really comes alive. Okay, so our story starts in the Shire. It's a peaceful little place. And right in the middle of it is our hero, Bilbo Baggins. He lived a life that was perfectly predictable, super comfortable. You know, the kind of life where the biggest thrill was deciding on a second breakfast. This one line pretty much says it all, doesn't it? This was Bilbo's entire world. Everything was safe, cozy, and adventures, well, those were just things he read about in books from his armchair. This routine was everything to him. Just think about the words you'd use to describe his day-to-day. He sat by the fire, he ate his meals, he enjoyed his peace and quiet. All of these past tense actions paint a perfect picture of who Bilbo was, right before his whole life began to change. But then, one day, that quiet life just shattered. And it all started with a knock on the door from a wizard named Gandalf and a doorbell that wouldn't stop ringing. Before he even knew what was happening, his house was absolutely packed. The party just grew and grew. See how it happened? First, Gandalf visited, then a dwarf came inside, and next thing you know, a whole crowd of them literally fell into his hallway. This whole chain of past events just turned his neat little home upside down. So as Bilbo listened to them singing about lost treasure and dragons, you can feel that something inside him started to shift. The words of their song just transported him, you know? It took him to places far, far away from his cozy hobbit hole. And right there, that's the moment. For the very first time, this adventurous side of Bilbo, a side he never even knew he had, it just woke up. So what happened next? Bilbo joined the journey. But as we're about to see, he very quickly found out that real adventures are not comfortable at all. At first, yeah, he totally regretted it. He was cold, he was wet, and he pretty much constantly wished he had never left his warm, comfortable home behind. Then this happened. It shows you exactly how a series of past actions led to their rescue. The trolls argued, they wasted precious time, and just as the sun appeared, they turned to stone. Gandalf's trick saved them, and Bilbo just watched the whole thing happen, learning a pretty big lesson. You see, after facing his first real danger and making it out alive, his whole point of view just shifted. He wasn't just the hobbit who missed his home anymore. He was becoming part of the story. But his next test was even bigger. While they were escaping from goblins, Bilbo fell, hit his head on a rock, and when he woke up, he was completely alone in the pitch-black dark. It seems like such a small moment, but this changed absolutely everything. Almost without thinking, he put the ring in his pocket. He had no clue about the power it held. And there, in the total darkness, he met the creature Gollum, a strange, creepy being who wanted to play a game. Suddenly, Bilbo's life depended on winning a game of riddles. Now, this wasn't a proper riddle. It was just a desperate question Bilbo accidentally asked out loud to himself. But it was the one question Gollum couldn't answer. It's the question that won him the game and, well, saved his life. Okay, so Gollum was defeated, but Bilbo still had one last challenge. He had to find his way out of those goblin tunnels and prove, to himself and everyone else, that he was more than just a simple hobbit from the Shire. And get this, he discovered the ring's magic by total accident. As he was running from Gollum, it just slipped on his finger. He then used its power of invisibility to sneak right past all the goblins. Just look at how much his actions have changed. The hobbit who used to just like his quiet comfort was now a real burglar who did brave things. He jumped over his enemy, he slipped past guards, he found his own way out, and he snuck up on his friends. This is not the same Bilbo we met at the start, not at all. Even Gandalf, the wise wizard who picked him for this whole quest, was surprised. Bilbo hadn't just survived, he had completely transformed. This comparison just sums it all up perfectly, right? He went from being doubted and afraid to to being respected and even looked up to. Through everything he did, he truly became the hero of the story. Bilbo's story is just a fantastic adventure, packed with all these past events and irregular verbs. But it leaves us with this really powerful question. What happens when an ordinary person, maybe like you or me, discovers a strength they never knew they had? What adventure would they choose?